Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive Dolphins show on all the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. I'm your host, Evan Posner, and with me always is my pops, Fish Tank Hank. How you doing, Hank?
I'm doing great. You know, Kansas City went down.
I don't like that for my betting purposes, but I understand where you're coming from.
Hey, the enemy went down last night. That's how I see it. And I love it. And they lost to the Lions. Good for Dan Campbell. I always liked that man. That's about it. Yeah.
How was your week?
My week? Well, it's pretty good, actually. What did I do this week? Well, my tattoo finally peeled up, so that was nice. So the itching has kind of started a little bit. So, but that's normal. That's typical. So,
okay. No, we're having a little bit of an Indian summer up here. It's been in I'm talking like in the 90s this week. It's been in for September in Montreal. That's quite a heat wave with pure humidity. But it's, you know what? I'm not complaining because in 2 months I'm going to have snow. So I'm not complaining. I can promise you that. But guys, welcome to another episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We are less than 48 hours away from our Miami Dolphins taking the field for the 2023-2024 season. We've been talking about this since January, and now we're chomping at the bit. We cannot be more excited to be here to talk about Dolphins tonight. Sorry we couldn't do it last night. Kids come first. They had something at their school I had to attend to, but Hank accommodated me, and we're doing our show tonight, followed by FUBAR afterwards. So stay on the Fins Talk Sports Network for a great NFL and Dolphins content for tonight. So Hank, the topic of the show that we're going to talk about today, I actually had a fight with me and Bobby were talking about this, was dear Miami Dolphin fans, there's nothing wrong with our O-line. There's nothing wrong with our O-line. And I want to get right away, and I'll talk to Anthony Manzano's comment. The news today broke that I think people are not surprised, even though people were convinced, because Teron Armstead last season played many games where he didn't practice, but unlike the previous times, he did not practice for 3 weeks because of the injury, and now Mike McDaniel made the call. I'm sure if it would have been Teron Armstead's call, he'd be on that field on Sunday. And the reason why I want people to calm down about the offensive line is I'm a critic of this team. People know that. I also go by the overreaction bandwagon sometimes, where after games, preseason, I'm hard. But now in the mindset of the season, we're now here. The positivity is going to flow only warm and fuzzies, as Steve Malloy likes to say. The reason why I'm not concerned about the O-line is that last year, if we remember what happened, we were averaging close to just under 5 yards a carry. Teron Armstead missed many games, and most of the games he was actually injured. We had to suffer through Greg Little, Brandon Shell, Kendall Lamb at different points. We had people bouncing around. Robert Joe. We had a mix of an O-line. And in my mind, we gave up the 29th, I think, most pressures, like the least amount of pressures. Like we were actually, the quarterback was not being sacked because of the O-line. May not have stars, and we may struggle sometimes on running plays and all that, but I think that's a matter of coaching and development for me. That's not about the O-line specifically. So Kendall Lamb knows the system. Connor Williams knows the system. Austin Jackson has looked great at camp. Liam Eichenberg is injured, but he does know the system, but he's not going to start. Isaiah Wynn has started over 40 games in the NFL. Robert Hunt is a pro. And then you have backups who are going to come back, and Keon and that group. For me, in the end, the offensive line for me is, as long as it bends but not breaks, like we always say about our defense, Get out of your own way. Stop being negative about it, because we knew this was the reality of the team. But many of the people who are still critical of that O-line were the ones who said, we are going to win 11 games. We're going to win 12 games. We're going to be able to do this. Oh, we have an amazing coach in Mike McDaniel. We're so happy to Vic Fangio. Trust in your coaching staff. I don't want to hear about Chris Greer. Oh, we believe in our O-line. It's not about that. Believe in the core of your team. Believe in the core of your team. Because last night you saw a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who has a good offensive line, who didn't matter what the offensive line did for him. If your receivers are not there to catch the ball and your running back is not there to run the ball, it doesn't matter what you do. So what are your thoughts on everyone whining and complaining, thinking that the season is over before the season has even started because Teron Armstead's missing a game? We knew he'd miss like 3 or 4 games. He's missing it at the beginning of the year. I'd rather him miss it on Sunday versus in December or when we're in the playoffs. What are your thoughts, Hank?
Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot to take in.
I had to get it out. I was so frustrated.
Holy moly. You know what? I'm gonna have to chew on that for a minute. All right. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, that's
I'll make
pretty
it
good.
Yeah,
I mean, I like where you're going. We at least have people in place that are supposed to be in place to back up. Whereas last year we just moved them from this spot to that spot, just moved everybody around, and it didn't work. The thing I'm concerned with is we had Eichenberg on the line and he didn't do anything, and now they have him starting on the line again.
They have him on the depth chart as number 1, but that doesn't mean he's starting there because he has a bit of a rib injury.
Oh, all right. Well, they still have him as number 1. So.
I think he's more the backup center. I really think he's more the backup center.
Is he?
In all theories, and I think they will play Isaiah Wynn. I'd be very, very shocked to see Liam Eichenberg start.
Fins up, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Okay. Anyway,
so what are
back to our offensive line.
Yeah. So no Teron Armstead. How much does that concern you?
It does concern me. That is a major piece of your offensive line. However, we do have people to back it up this year, so I'm not as concerned as I was last year when we lost him. But the nice part is you have Tua in there, and that's not Tua's blind side. So, plus.
Yeah.
In
and Kendall
the way I see it. Yeah, if you had to lose somebody, I mean, I'd rather not lose whoever's on his blind side.
Yeah, and Austin Jackson has been, according to all people who have seen him, the guy, we have knocked him down for years since he was drafted high. But people don't remember. If you go look back at what he was doing at USC and what he was previously doing where he was before in high school, he was a top athlete. He's very athletic in this zone scheme. So if he stays healthy, I think he's going to shore up that right tackle position. He's a very confident kid. No matter how much mud has been thrown at him by the media, by the fans, by everything, he takes it in stride. And I think everyone has talked about how at camp he won that position. He did not lose that position. Everyone thought he was going to lose that position, and he's been able to maintain playing right tackle all during training camp. So that's a real positive in my mind. He's an athletic guy. So
you got some questions that
so Anthony was saying, are you guys expecting to get hit by that hurricane? Because apparently expected to no, I don't think we're going to get hit. It usually goes out west. But he wanted me to read this question. When you look at our O-line, can you blame half of those sacks, Evan, on our quarterback holding the ball too long? And that's why. Okay, exactly. Manzano was reading my mind. Many times when Skyler was behind center, Teddy was behind center, or Tua was behind center, when they would get sacked or they would have struggle, they were playing hero ball and not releasing the ball quick enough. Tua has the ability to get the ball out in under 3 seconds. And if he does that, the guy won't get to him. And very often when they were getting sacked, it actually wasn't the lineman who screwed up. It was actually the running back who couldn't block. So as long as they set up their blocking tight ends and and they get Ingold to support the lineman on the side, whether it's Khalil Mack on one side when we play the Chargers or Joey Bosa on the other side, as long as you get the necessary support, and Tua will be smart. There's going to be jet sweeps. There's going to be quick throws to Tyreek and Waddle. As long as they are playing fast with the ball and they're mixing it up between run and pass, our team is comfortable enough. Remember when we were in Baltimore last year, no matter what, we were down by how much, 21, and he had to get the ball out. Greg Little was on the right side. Greg Little. Okay, and we were able to come back from 21 down with Greg Little on the right side. Okay, so honestly, the offensive line, I don't want to hear about Greer. I don't want people to live in the past. This is a new season. We have no longer a rookie head coach. We have a strong core. We have a veteran O-line coach.
Hey, Evan, let me interrupt you for a minute.
Go for it.
I mean, we basically have the same offensive line we had last year.
And it's sustainable.
And, if Jackson doesn't improve, if T Steady doesn't become a little more steady, we're going to have problems. Okay? Hold on. Let me finish.
I'm letting you finish.
I saw you breathe in. I'm like, uh-oh. Here comes the hurricane.
No hurricane.
Hurricane Evan. No. No. You have to give it a chance, though, is my point. You have to. You have had some turnovers. You have had people come in from camp and practice to see if you could better yourself already. So whatever they put out, they think they're putting out the best line. Now, who knows? They could start and switch people around like they always do. Like you said, just because Eichenberg's listed as number one doesn't mean he's going to start either.
Yeah. And this week, they've been able to go into this week of the season with Kendall Lamb at left tackle. Isaiah Wynn, I'm sure, is at left guard. So they've been able to play against this. So between Butch Barry, Mike McDaniel, Frank Smith, and also one important point about this week's game, the scheme that Brandon Staley likes to play on defense and how to get to the quarterback and how to get through that offensive line, who taught him it? Vic Fangio. So anything that the offensive line is ready for is already going to be known. They know how to play against this type of defense. And especially last week, and I think for us to have this as our first game is perfect because the last time we played this team, that's the sour taste in our mouth. The Buffalo game isn't the sour taste in our mouth. The San Francisco game, this is the game where we actually poop the bed. And I believe that this team is motivated to overcome all expectations because last year, even with what we call this below average offensive line, to get 4.7 yards a carry, like I'm not worried about this. Like for me, I'm more worried about the high snaps potentially. I'm more worried about our quarterback not getting the ball fast enough, or us not throwing outside the numbers more often enough, or not utilizing Ingold, or not utilizing Eva Cummins, not spreading the ball and only going to Tyreek and Waddle, and not taking advantage of the speed of other players and using Barrios. Like me, that's where I feel we need to get to. Right? Like for the offensive line.
Great points, Evan. Hey, Evan, those are great points.
Yeah.
And I totally agree and back you up on that, 100%. It doesn't have to necessarily be just the offensive line. It can definitely be any other position that we have in the offense where you rely on it too much and it gives the game away, as Duke was saying. They knew every time it was a pass play because Gesicki was in there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's a great pass catcher. Don't get me wrong, but you knew he wasn't blocking for a run play.
Yeah. And also we always have to remember this, even though it's only 17 games in the year, it is a long season. Last year, we were all tooting our horns. We were 3-0. Then we were 8-3. If we keep this game, no matter what, this week, we just want the team to show up and do its best. And I believe its best makes, even without Teron Armstead, overall, this team can beat the Chargers, because the Chargers have a lot more expectation. And to add another point to this offensive line, Connor Williams looking for a contract. Robert Hunt looking for a contract. Austin Jackson proving what he's worth to get a contract because he struggled the first couple of years plus with injury. Kendall Lamb has been a veteran but wants to solidify himself. Isaiah Wynn, 40-game starter, now want to solidify himself. All these guys are motivated to maintain their jobs. If you don't think that they're going to do everything they possibly can to earn their stripes in game one, because they know they are the weakness of the overall team, when you look at it, they are the part that people are most worried about, and that's what people are critical of. But in the end, that only gives them more motivation. You don't want to know why I say that? Because last year, your cohort on Finch Talk today would say we're a quarterback away. We're a quarterback away. And yes, I don't want to hear about December, but what happened to what people called the weakness of the team, which was the quarterback position? He showed up and he shut everybody up with the highest passer rating in the NFL. So you want to know what? This offensive line is motivated to say that they could do everything without T Steady. So for me, simple to point, all you Dolphin bandwagon, Dolphin haters or Dolphin criticizers of the O-line, get out of your own way. Enjoy the fact that the Miami Dolphins are playing on Sunday. And if the offensive line is the reason why we struggle, then come on this show, on the post-game show, and rip me to shreds. But before this game starts, believe in your team. It's a 53-man roster. And honestly, if the O-line struggles, blame Mike McDaniel, blame Frank Smith, blame Butch Berry. Because if they felt the offensive line wasn't capable, they'd beg Chris Grier to go get other players. So in the end, believe in your coaching staff, believe in your team, believe in the O-line, and everything is going to be okay.
I agree.
Okay. Do you believe, quick question before we move on, do you believe that Connor Williams will have a perfect snapping game in the regular season and that was just an aberration?
You know, he had some bad snaps at bad times last year. Not that there's ever a good time to have a bad snap. Have a good one. I mean, but, you know, come on. He did it last year, and then he did it in the, you get going, and he ruined it. He almost got the quarterback hurt. Yeah. Does that concern me? Yes, but look how well he did as a center last year. He did very well as a center overall. Yeah. But those snaps, if that happens in a critical game, that's it. It's over. Yeah. That's over and done, because that defense is going to eat as soon as you do that. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit, because we have some bases because there was a game last night, but let's talk about the wide receiver core.
Okay.
Let's talk about something that no one can complain about. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, Eric Izukama, River Craycraft, Cedric Wilson. Do you realize that if Braxton Berrios and Cedric Wilson played for the Kansas City Chiefs last night, they'd be their 1 and 2? So we have an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position. And I don't care what anybody says. This is a passing league, no matter how much we want to say anything. What's up, Bearded?
Berrios doesn't drop that many passes.
No, I did not. Beloy school. I'm just getting everything off my chest to shut all of you up. Now Hank's doing all the talking. I'm not talking anymore.
Okay. Berrios didn't do any dropping of the balls like Tony did last night. I mean, come on, that was horrible. I was painful to watch for them. So you know what I mean? Because you had Mahomes going through, making all these spectacular moves and everything else to get the ball to these guys to begin with. It was amazing, and they were dropping it. I was like, oh my God, how do you drop that? You can't drop that at that important time.
Yeah. But you know what I said to myself? At one point, he underthrew a ball, and I said to myself, maybe Tyreek's right. Maybe Tua is more accurate, but I digress. Get back to the receiver core. Talk to the audience on how excited are you about how amazing our wide receiver core is and how deep it is. How excited are you to see this group of 6?
How excited am I to see this group of 6
on the field, and that rotationally and how they can be used?
Oh, it's like going to a race, right? And you got a Ferrari and somebody's sitting in the other lane with a tricycle. Okay. That's what it's like. It truly is. Compared to everybody else in the NFL, we have the most speed. Yeah. Hands down, we have the most speed out there. And I don't know, I've been wondering how they're going to handle it. And last year they handled it by knowing every time we were going to pass the ball. We overpassed the ball too. Like when we were gaining over 5+ yards, we should have ran the ball, and we didn't.
No.
Hopefully this year that changes now, and we run the ball a little more. And that way, when those explosive passes come out, they'll mean something, and you'll get a little more out of it. You know what I mean, Evan?
Yep. And what are your thoughts on using the wide receivers more in the backfield, as they mentioned in the comments?
In the
Like
backfield. Oh,
like
they
passing
meant-
in the backfield, like sort of like doing more jet sweeps
hey,
and more.
you know, Easy E acting like a Debo.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
I'll take some of that all day long because I like him.
Yeah.
I like the kid. I really hope he excels. And Barrios back there. I mean, you got a lot of guys that have a lot of speed. And then Hill, they always run Hill back there.
Yeah. Do you see them going in the game? Do you see them if they're past the 50? Do you see that with this wide receiver core, if we're 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 1, do you see them being aggressive with this wide receiver core, going 4 across, 5 across, and going for it on 4th down this season more often than not?
McDrip always seems to go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't matter where he was on the field last year.
Yeah.
If he felt like he could make it, he went for it.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they'll continue to go for it just like they were.
Do you agree?
Do I agree that they should go for it?
Yeah. With that receiver,
not if it's a bad position on the field. No, because I sat through one of those. I sat through one of those heart thumpers in the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, you're sitting in the stadium, you're going, what the hell? Oh my God! All the way back there, we're not even at the critical point of the game, and we're doing this. You start thinking that a little bit, but you know what? Every time he seemed to do it, it worked out. So, I got to go with what the guy thinks. I mean, he's the pro. Yeah. I'm just the fan.
Yeah. Over under 3 receptions from the tight ends on Sunday. Over under.
Oh, over.
Over?
Over.
Okay. We got them out of the way because we don't know how they're going to be used. We have no clue. That is the mystery of all mysteries. We have no idea how tight ends are going to be used, when they're going to be on the field. We have no clue.
I think they'll get about 10 total.
10 total across the board. Good for And that included in gold? Or do you separate in gold?
No. Whoever's considered a tight end, 10.
The running game. How more are you more or less confident with this group of running backs than you were with last year's running group? Which means the only difference this year is you have Chris Brooks and Devon Achane, versus Myles Gaskin, basically, because it kept more running backs. What are your thoughts on this year's wide receiver?
I like
running back.
I love the speed in Achane, don't you?
Yeah, I love it. I think Mostert will be under center.
Yeah,
but obviously in the first few plays with Ingold, but I think Achane is going to get in quick, and he's going to shock a few people.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think that between Mostert, Achane, you have all that speed, and then you have a couple other guys that can take it up the middle if you need to, including Ingold. So.
Okay.
I like where we're at. I mean, Achane running back 1. No, I don't know.
I think he'll get there. I think he will get there.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt he might take it over, but I don't know that he's gonna.
I wonder if one of them will be inactive. I don't know if they're going to inactivate one, because that's a lot to bring in all 4 of them. I'll be surprised. I don't know if you had to inactivate one for the game between Brooks, Achane, Mostert, and Ahmed, who would you bench?
Ahmed.
Okay, I think that's what everyone thinks. Even though he goes for these longer runs, but yeah, he's really like the plug and play guy. Let's talk about Tua, because then we'll talk about the defense and the coaching staff. So Tua, what are you expecting? What are you expecting from your QB1? And what would make you feel good, satisfied with his performance? So, like, what are your expectations for him on Sunday?
He needs to pass for at least 300 or 400 yards.
Okay, and
At least. I'm saying at least, because if he doesn't, you're not going to win against the Chargers.
Hammer time. Yeah.
Hands up, Hammer.
No, but do you see it? Do you have any? Are you Okay, because I will have some pit. I'll admit, I will. My stomach will be rumbling a little nervous on the first few plays. Like, how would you adjust him into a first regular season game? Run the ball at the beginning, get him a deep throw, because I think they need to run the ball at the beginning and sort of balance it out. Because if they rush the throws with him at the beginning and don't balance it out a little bit and don't let him ease into a regular season game, then he might be over aggressive like he likes to be. So what do you think?
Slant right over the middle to Berrios to start out.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do. Let the defense come in. Let them think that they're beating the offense. Let them come in and just dump it right over them.
Okay. Are you going to be keeping a stopwatch? Because unless he's scrambling, anytime he holds the ball over 3 seconds, I think we should start booing. I'm just kidding. Do you see a completely different game plan? Do you think Mike McDaniel for Tua? You think they realize the mistakes they made, and that Tua realizes that if he doesn't have the play, do not force it. Get rid of the ball. Play for the next play. Or do you think he's still going to try to make the play every time?
I think he's going to do what all quarterbacks do. He's going to try to make the play. That's what he's in there for, make the play. And like it or not, sometimes he's going to need to throw it away. And, I think he's worked on that along with working on not getting beat up so bad, working on his body and everything else. So I'm happy with his progression. Yeah. And if he bulked up a little bit, that means he's got a little stronger arm probably too. So,
The only thing I want him to do is protect the football. I don't care if he throws 5 touchdowns. I just want him to not make no turnovers. Like, that's the turnover game for him. Whenever he threw 1 or 2 or more turnovers, the game was over. He has to key. That's what he's an accurate quarterback. He's an anticipatory type of quarterback. Be smart with it. Do not force it into a small window. Do what you need to do and trust your receivers to go get the ball.
I agree with Duke too. I'm reading what Duke has to say. Lots of short passes to A-Chain, Ingold, Berrios to start out. See, that's what I was saying, Berrios. I agree.
Yeah. For me, I want Justin Herbert because we have this tendency to give me 1 sec.
You all right?
Yeah, I have to sneeze. I don't want to
getting all choked up over me.
It went away.
Is it my shirt?
No, yeah, it's blinding me.
Thank you, Hammer Time, about my drip, by the way.
Yeah, you have a beautiful drip. No, for me, I want because we seem to have lost the toss almost every game last year. The first time we end up with the football, if we win the toss, for example, if we don't win the toss, our defense will do its job. But if we lose the toss and we get the ball first, I want a sustained 5-6 minute 12 13 play drive. Get Herbert sitting on his butt on the sideline, and I want him to sustain it. I want quick throws, 5, 10, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 yards. Run the ball. Do something to sustain it. Because sometimes what the Dolphins did, which was always my criticism last year during the postgame, is they let the teams come back because the defense was on the field so often. The reason why the defense was on the field so often wasn't because the Dolphins weren't scoring. It's because they were scoring too quickly. Slow the game down. You have enough time. You have 60 minutes. Sustain the drives. Utilize your running game. Utilize the players you have on the field. It's not always important to get the 30, 40-yard passes to score the touchdown. Save that for the 2-minute drills. You don't need to do that in the first quarter. What's up, Tony?
Well, Tony.
Walter heard 2 interceptions in the first half of Ravens game. They still came back. Yep, and that point is nonsense. I don't agree with you. I'm talking about, that's different. That was last year.
What's he saying, Evan?
He's saying that he threw 2 interceptions in the first game with the Ravens and then came back and threw 6 touchdowns, and he doesn't agree with my point. It's a very different Tua. Last time Tua struggled quickly throwing the ball last year, and then he never came back. People it's all recency bias. If he comes in and he starts poo-pooing the ball, because people remember what he did against the Chargers, not against the Ravens. So if he comes in and starts going against Justin Herbert, who has the receivers that Lamar Jackson did not have last year, and starts throwing the ball and forcing the ball in game 1, we have a problem there. So
he has to get rid of that ball quick with that defense.
Yeah. But
if he's throwing the ball, he's got to get rid of it. You got Bosa on
because
the
if
other
they throw
side.
interceptions, they also have Derwin James. If you throw interceptions early and we fall back early, Tua's going to start rushing. He's going to start throwing the ball deep. He's going to start making mistakes, and then it's going to fall away very quickly.
Yeah, well, you know the funny part though.
He also hasn't been on the field in 9 months.
Derwin James can't cover 4 wide receivers.
No, he cannot. But also, we cannot play. For me, I can't worry. He has not played in 9 months a regular season game. It's not like the Ravens game where he was coming in 2 games into it, where he played the year before. This is a guy who literally has not played a game in 9 months in a regular season game, and he's going against a very, very strong team. He has to be conservative at the beginning. Let his receivers, let his talent, let the elite talent guide him through the first drive. Then once he's comfortable and he gets his mojo, then go for the gusto.
Let me give you a quote from a great man.
Hank?
F it. Throw it deep.
Who was that? You?
Dan Marino.
Oh. Yeah, but Dan Marino was Dan Marino. Like, can't compare the two. Let's talk a little bit about the defense. Similar point. People are knocking on the fact that Teron Armstead's not playing. Jalen Ramsey isn't playing. Who do you expect to see on the other side of Xavier Howard on Sunday? Who do you expect to see? Who do you want to see?
Well, why don't you tell me?
Eli Apple.
I want Eli Apple.
I want a veteran starting that game. I don't want to see Cam Smith yet. Bring Cam Smith later on. Kader Kohu will get his time. I want to see our veterans. I want to see Xavier. I want to see Apple. I want to see Jones. And I want to see Holland. That's who I want to see.
I want to see Jones out there and Holland for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've waited long enough for Jones.
Jones is, you know that song, Mr. Jones and Me? Where's Mr. Hello. Okay, we've waited enough for Byron Jones. We don't need to wait much longer for Brandon Jones. Okay, this is enough with the Joneses. Because if he doesn't play, I go, enough with the Joneses. No more Robert Jones. No more Byron Jones. No more Brandon Jones. Get all the Joneses off the Dolphins.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep all the Jalens. Get rid of the Joneses. No, but who would that give you more comfort to go against Mike Williams and Keenan Allen? I think you definitely need a veteran there who's an 8-year starter. And...
I have to kind of disagree with you a little bit, Evan.
Okay. You're allowed.
You know, as far as don't throw the ball, because we got to throw the ball a lot if you're going to keep up with Justin Herbert. And I'm telling you, man, I was in Oregon when he was out there. This guy can do it all. I mean, he's great. But you know what? He's only one person on a team. But he's got wide receivers too, though.
Yeah,
but that's all right because we have cornerbacks we have more cornerbacks than they do good wide receivers, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. We have better safeties than they do wide receivers also.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot that stacks up against the Chargers too. You know, don't think that Phillips is just going to be hanging out on the sidelines again either. Like, you know, those types of things aren't going to happen like they did last year. That you have a completely different defensive mind going in there to begin with to defend against the Justin Herberts and everybody else.
I agree with you, Johnny. Keep the ball out of his hand. Sustain drives. But, I agree. For me, Eli Apple, I want the veteran core there. I just want the veteran core there, and I'll be happy. And let Brandon Jones play more like a linebacker. Let Javon Holland play center field to protect against the deep throws. Xavier is 100% healthy. He's not the same guy he was when we played the Chargers last year. And let's just go from there. The linebackers, Can you believe that we have a $65 million or $16 million a year outside linebacker backup in Emmanuel Ogba? Boy, oh boy, I hope he shows up. But David Long, Andrew Van Ginkel, Emmanuel Ogba, Jerome Baker. I actually learned this yesterday. Do you know, like, because what's his name? Vic Fangio likes watching games from the booth. So the green button, it's actually the guy who controls the defense and relays the plays is Jerome Baker. So watch Jerome Baker on Sunday because he's the one who's managing the defense for Vic Fangio from above. FYI.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the linebacker core? I can't wait to see David Long. I cannot wait to see that guy fly. Like that guy likes to move around. I'm excited to see that because he's our sort of outside of Ramsey, he's our defensive signing of the linebacker core. We got rid of Landon Roberts and we signed him. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree that was an upgrade to an extent, and there's a two-edged sword to that too because I'm a little concerned because injuries.
Yeah.
So hopefully he stays healthy, just like everybody else. You're going to get injuries throughout the season, and it's almost like every player is going to get an injury.
Yeah.
It's almost, I could sit here and say, at least 5 players from the Dolphins will be injured this year. Well, I'm going to be right. Guess what? I'm going to be right. It's easy to do that.
But you're right, but it already happened. See, we already got it out of the way. They already got it out of the way.
I'm just saying, people sit there and predict these gloom and dooms on the team, and that's all they're predicting is that players are going to get hurt. Okay, that's easy to do. I mean, it's like saying that, we're going to have a hurricane at some point in time during hurricane season. Really? Wow. Great. Okay.
I think you're going to see a lot of rotation, a lot of different schemes with Vic Fangio. I think he's going to be as confusing as Mike McDaniel is on offense. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a blast. But for me, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, these two guys are chomping at the bit. They are going to put Justin Herbert on his keister. These two are so motivated. They know they need to get double-digit sacks, both of them this year. They are chomping at the bit. Chubb finally has his coach his coordinator that he wants, who knows who drafted him. Jalen Phillips is chomping at the bit. This guy should be an up-and-comer, phenomenal talent. So I'm not worried about them. What gives me the googly, Raekwon Davis will do what he needs to do, but makes me the thing that makes me smile the most, and we're waiting for it. Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins, the glue of that middle.
Yeah,
come on. Those two are going to keep you in games no matter what happens. You happened in the Buffalo playoff game last year, and it's going to happen here. Christian Wilkins at $10.7 million is so motivated right now. He wants his bag. We know that. He is coming in fired up as our captain on the defense, and he is going to wreak havoc. I'm telling you. People say he needs the sack money. Trust me, he's going to find his way to get to Justin Herbert.
You can't stop everybody.
No, but let me ask you something. If you remember Josh Allen, the player, he says, I think if you've ever heard him, he hates playing Christian Wilkins. By the end of this game, Justin Herbert's going to tell everybody he hates playing against Christian Wilkins also because he drives these guys bananas, these big quarterbacks. He likes to drive them bananas, get under their skin. It's a blast. So for me, I cannot wait for this defense. But to talk about this defense, talk about how excited you are to see Vic Fangio call a regular season game, to have Ronaldo Hill, the former DC and one of the top defensive guys of the Chargers, he was part of the planning to go against Tua on the Dolphins and McDaniel last year. So how excited are you for this defensive core of coaches and players, especially Vic Fangio and Ronaldo Hill going against the Chargers this coming Sunday?
This defense was ranked like 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just a fact. Anywhere from 29th to 25th, somewhere in there, our defense was ranked. Okay. And they got a bad bag because they were on the field too much. Like you said, between scoring too fast, not running the ball enough, obviously, if you're scoring fast, but sometimes you got to strike. So I understand that too. But at the same time, you got to have some balance in there. We didn't have the balance. And I think the balance makes all the difference in the world, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. But are you excited? But do you expect a bend not break Vic Fangio defense.
I see the bend don't break, but I also see them getting after the quarterback. You have too many good players to not get after the quarterback. You know what I mean? You can't just take a Phillips and put him on the shelf. Yeah. No, you want him to play. You want him to get after the quarterback. You want to see that push up the middle from Sealer and Wilkins. You want to see them in Herbert's face rather than Herbert seeing a gap and running through that gap, because Herbert can take off too. He's a big guy, just like, Allen, just like you said, he's a big dude. So you got to really, you can't do those finger tackles to guys like
they need
Herbert.
to tackle better this year. They 100% need to tackle better.
Yeah, exactly.
But
but I think with that pressure up the middle, and then the two ends coming around with our linebackers that we have, like you said, we have speed out there, and Fangio uses that speed. And he said he has special packages that nobody's ever even seen. No. So he has packages on top of this and that and everything else and stuff that he's been tinkering with while he was off for a year, et cetera, et cetera. We don't even know what we're getting. We don't
That's
even know.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Somebody to sit there and actually, tell me straight up that that's what's going on. You know what I mean? There's no way I can believe it. You have an idea of what his defense is going to be because, no matter what, you can't get away from what you are. In other words, the cat doesn't change its spots. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always going to be a fact. But guess what? Everybody was copying that anyway. The better defenses were copying that. So now you're going to add on top of that what everybody else is copying, and you had a year to sit there and formulate plans with it. Oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah,
this is going to be great. And like you said, having Ronaldo there and having that knowledge on how they went against Tua and everything else, forget about it. That's going to come in so useful, it's not even funny.
Exactly.
And that includes our defense. Yeah. That includes because he's ran the defense against Herbert.
Exactly.
So he knows.
Yeah.
So I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. The direction goes up, 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 in my opinion, with the ability and the capabilities of this defense. Yes, we might have injuries, and if we have injuries, there'll be concerns. Okay, there'll be some concerns, but you have concerns every year. You know what?
It's a football game, any given Sunday.
Here's a point that nobody really talks about. If you look at Miami Dolphins team, you have at least 10 Pro Bowlers on the team.
Yep.
At least. 5 on each side, okay? Look at it however you want. Yeah. You have at least 10.
Yeah.
And there aren't teams built like this.
No.
The only thing that's missing from Miami is depth.
Okay.
That's it. That's my only concern right now is the depth. And outside of that, because
every team
Armstead went down. We're about to find out how well we do without Armstead. I'm hopeful. And once again, I'm glad it's not to his blind side. So.
Well, 2 key drops. 1 key drop yesterday for Kansas City cost them their game.
Yeah.
But for me, what I'm looking to do, the number one thing I'm watching for from our defense was very good first down, second down. So it would be this. This would be me watching the game. First down, incomplete. Second down, loss of yards. Third, loss of 4 yards. 3rd and 14. Then Josh Boyer would set up his defense to play 15 yards back and give them the 14 yards. We never got off it. And I'd be banging the couch and screaming, motherfucker. I'd be losing my bananas on that. We could never get off the field on 3rd down. That is our Achilles heel. If Vic Fangio will not allow this to happen again.
I hope not.
That's how they're going to win.
3rd and Boyer.
3rd and Boyer. Remember when he lined up against at the end zone? Unbelievable.
Right on,
All
Duke. I got you, man.
All I can tell you is that we need 3rd down conversions to be like 30%, and we're golden.
Yeah, I just have full faith in
Vic Fangio.
We have 2 head coaches, for crying out
Right
loud.
on.
One that takes on the offense and one that takes on the defense. It's awesome. I mean, come on, you can't. And then the staff that's been built. Yeah. They built their
Wes
own
Welker,
staff.
Sam Madison. Like they're great. It's Darrell Bevel. You don't think Darrell Bevel has Tua motivated up the hilt?
Yeah.
We're 45 minutes into it. We have a few minutes left. I want to focus on the big guy, the big cojones before we go. Mike McDrip, okay? Our BFF for everybody who I've been hard on all year, and I'm going to give him some positivity now. I'm going to give him some positivity on Sunday. What does he have to do, Hank, to get that monkey off his back, and for all of us to accept that he's grown as a coach? And what does he have to do on the offense? How many the percentage of runs, percentage of passes, going for? Like, what do you see as an ideal game plan for Mike McDaniel against his Charger team, and just to see growth and development over the frustrations we saw and how we ended last year?
He needs to go with what works is the answer to that as far as against the Chargers go.
Yeah.
He needs to do what works. And what I mean by what works is if he's running the ball and getting 6 yards, run the ball. If you're dumping passes, 5-yard dunks and you're getting 50 and 60 yarders all day, guess what you keep doing? Dunking the pass. Yeah. I mean, you got to do what works. And especially against this Chargers defense, you have to have a formulated plan going in ahead of time on who's blocking who and who you're letting go. Because, sometimes you got to purposely let somebody go around the outside. You know that. You have to and step up in the pocket and throw the ball. So, things of this nature are going to happen, and there's going to be some faults here and there. We all know that. And what was the other question you had asked me?
What percentage of run, what percentage of pass?
I'm really hoping that they go with balanced. I want balance. I would like a little more pass game, not more than last year. I'm just saying I like a heavier pass game than a run style game. But I'm talking more backs coming out of the backfield and the ball being dropped off to them. Short passes, short, controlled, quick passes. That's what you need against this defense. Short, quick, and controlled. And that's why I think you throw something to Barrios over the middle to start out, you're going to get a huge chunk right down the middle to begin with, because James can't cover everybody. It's really that simple.
And there's J.C. Jackson who's back also. But you mentioned before that Tua has to get between 300 and 400 yards for us to win this game.
Yeah.
At the minimum, what does the combo of running backs have to get to balance that attack? If we need let's say we get 350 from Tua, how much from the running backs do you need to balance that attack? And
are we talking strictly on the ground, or
strictly on the ground? Strictly on the ground.
Okay, if we're talking strictly on the ground, you need to get 100 to 150 yards.
Okay, so you want between 450 and 500 yards of offense to win this game.
Absolutely. If you're going against the Chargers, you better have.
You expect? Much. We're not going through scores yet, so you expect this to be at least a 20. Dolphins have to put up minimum 28, 31 points in this game to win this football game, no matter what.
I can't.
If you put up 500 yards, you're putting up 28 plus points.
Bobby kicked me in the rear end if I said something to that, answered that question.
I trapped you. You'll save it for tomorrow. No, but right now, have you been getting? Are you nervous or excited? 48 hours out.
I'm ecstatic.
You're not nervous?
I'm ready for the game to start. I think the Miami players are excited. They're ready to prove everybody wrong. I mean, they've been watching the chatter, so I know they've been watching the chatter. I'm sure McDrip threw a little around inside the locker room too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now for me, I don't know what it is. I feel like a player. I feel like a part. The day before the game, so the moment the game starts, I am literally like this. I can't talk to anybody. I have to focus. I can't look at Twitter. I'm so invested. That's what I love about this team. They've sucked me in, and I'm so happy to be on the bandwagon with you. It's so exciting. It can't come fast enough. That's why, for all you Dolphin fans, we have great content. We're here tonight. Food Bar's following this. You have Finch Talk today, tomorrow at noon. Then you have the pregame show at 10 a.m. going over all the NFL and focusing on the Chargers and Dolphins game with all the last-minute things. Hopefully, maybe we'll have the inactive actives by that time. We'll find out. If not, we'll go with our best guesses. But I will share my prediction on Sunday morning on the pregame show. But no, I can't wait to do this. I'm telling you, I'm nervous, but honestly, I do. Herbert is a good quarterback. But you want to know what? We've beaten good quarterbacks. We've beaten Josh Allen. We've beaten top quarterbacks in the league. We've beaten Brady as a Dolphin fan. We've done what we need to do. We've beaten good quarterback. We beat Lamar Jackson, right? We're beating good quarterbacks, right? So I'm not worried about that. It's about it's a team effort. Right now, we talked about how if Jalen Ramsey was in that lineup, I think people would be a lot more confident, even with Armstead out. Vic Fangio is a wizard. Mike McDaniel's a wizard. There's a reason why these coaches are there. Let them do their jobs. Let them develop this team. They've been planning for this. They know what they need to do. And let's be positive for the next 48 hours, because all positivity only creates more happiness in Dolphins land. And all we want is our team to be happy and winners. Any final words, Hank?
So we want rainbows and flowers everywhere.
Warm and fuzzies.
All right.
Happy hubby, lovey-dovey.
Yeah. Happy hubby. Lots of lovey-dovey.
Any final words before we head out and you get ready?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Duke, it was fun reading what you had to say and answering. I enjoyed myself tonight. And, like you say, it's great to come on here. The next time we're going to be talking about the game. Yeah. We're going to be talking about the game next time we come together.
Next time we get together,
I'm getting excited because I wait all year for this.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I have somebody that I'm giving away my tickets to, I sold my tickets. I didn't give them away. I sold my tickets to the Giants game. So I think I put them up for sale. It took like minutes.
Yeah, no, people love this team.
Yeah. Well, I had some great seats too.
Yeah, I know. All right. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Fins up. Love your Miami Dolphins. Be positive, and don't worry. The offensive line is okay. Everything's going to be okay. And if you're unsure, come back and watch the bandwagon again and listen to us tell you how it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Fins up.
Exactly. Fins up.